Sean, was that last number 28?
That is number 28, yes. Thoughts? We know Tim's.
Normally not so vocal.
That's okay. That's all right.
It's better than my chemistry test.
Well, that's good to hear. I would fail a chemistry test for sure, even with prep. So, first of all, well, actually, just give me your... Renee, please.
Oh.
No! Give me what's on your mind.
Well, I guess some of it,
Tell what's on your mind. Don't filter it.
I totally doubt my common sense.
That's okay. That's easy for us to do as math students because you have been spending your entire lives in math classrooms where non-intuitive answers become commonplace. I remember once having somebody explain to me why when you multiply by a negative number, it flips it to the other side of the number line. And the explanation was, well, just think about what makes sense to you and then do the opposite. And this is not the first time that somebody has told me something like that in a mathematics classroom. So how else would it feel if almost in your entire life you're doing stuff counterintuitive to your intuition, and then you get to a class where your intuition actually makes sense? It happened yesterday in 243. I put two graphs on the board. I'll draw them for you guys too. One was like this. This was in your homework actually. And one was like this. Okay? You had two data sets. So basically a U and a... And the question in the homework was, which of those two graphs has higher variation? That one or that one? They both have the same average, which I think was 3 if I remember correct. Which one of those has more, which one's sample standard deviation is higher? Left or right? Everybody. Intuition. And then, that's okay, but on average, the intuition was the left graph has the most variation. And we spent 25 minutes explaining mathematically why, which is now on video, which will be posted on Tuesday, Thursday's schedule page for Tuesday as soon as I get it linked to the upload. So if you're interested in seeing the full 25-minute exposition as to why it's greater, but that's not important. What's important is your intuition said that one has higher variation. In a traditional math class, they would then say, yes, now that one does, because exactly what you thought, your intuition was wrong. No, your intuition is correct. That one has higher variation. And it's because there are, here's the quick, easy, not 25-minute answer, there are more data points away from the average. Right? There are more data points further away. Therefore, you're averaging bigger numbers. I'm going to make a video that goes with this one too. But if you want to see the 25-minute thing we did in class, it's on there. Renee, that makes perfect sense because you spent how many years of your lives doubting your intuition? Because math, not statistics, but math has this anti-logic button almost. Now, it's not like that. Math is not like that, but the way math is presented often feels that way. And it makes you second guess yourself. So, don't worry. I have a second guess coupon for us for all the exams. So on Monday, when you get this guy back, there's a rainy day coupon for exam 1 and exam 2, maybe you've seen it already, that allows you to correct up to 10% of that exam that you just handed in and resubmit for the full credit on those points.
I wish I would have
Yeah, I'll probably do that.
Why?
That sounds good.
Because
What do you need formulas for?
everything on there, you needed some sort of formula.
Oh my god, no! You needed this!
I know, but what about the bell curve thing? Was that in the homework anywhere?
What about the bell curve thing?
That last one just threw me for a loop.
Oh, it is in your homework! Yes!
Yes, a bell curve.
If you look back to your... No, it wasn't about the bell curve. It was about curving exam grades. I didn't use that phrase in your homework. But there was one question in each of the center and the variation questions where it said, look back to the data from example blah, blah, blah. Add blah, blah, blah to every data point. How is the average affected? And then the next section for variation said, here's look at the exact same data set from blah, blah, blah. Add blah, blah, blah to it. How is the standard deviation affected?
I didn't get how not knowing the amount of students. I didn't know.
It's irrelevant. Here, let's go. You ready? Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. You ready? Here we go. Would you rather see it? That's okay. Would you rather do it in the TI or on the board?
Whatever you want. Whichever.
Well, what do you guys want? Neither one's easier. I wanted to make sure it's understandable. So I'm here. Okay, let's do a vote. Let's be democratic. Board. Okay. Well, there we go. Sorry, Sheena. But very easy in the TI. But I think the visual on the board, I think, will make more sense. I think. Okay. So Tim's concerned that he doesn't know how many data points there are. My concern is it doesn't matter. So here's why. So here's before over here. So we'll just draw a line, and we'll make it go into after, because all the exam grades are going to end up over here because we're adding a certain number of points. How many points did we add for that one? 19. And what was the original average? 56. 56 with a standard deviation of something. 25. And actually, none of that really is, well, we'll go back to that. So the average is 56. Let's put a 50 here. 60, 70, 80. Okay, so the original average was a 56. Let me grab some colors. Okay, so 55, 56. Here's X bar before. Okay. And actually, while we're here, what's X bar after going to be?
I got 75.
Well, how'd you get that?
Well, I took the standard deviation.
Forget the standard deviation, talk about the average.
See, but that's exactly my problem. I took it off the average and then added the 19.
You're overthinking it, you're overthinking it.
See?
If I added, how many points did I add to each exam? 19. If I added 19 points to each exam, what's happening to the average? It's going to go up 19 points. Everybody got 19 points, they're all going to go up 19. Okay, I figured you would. The one that's going to goof people on average is standard deviation. We'll get back to that. So Tim, now hang on. If I add, why do people add points to grades? Because they want the average to go up. That's the whole point. They want to make themselves feel better about the exam. So they add a superfluous number of points to the exam grade, which drives the average up, which means nothing. We'll get back to that later in the course.
It does mean something.
It means that they feel better about their exam.
It means if everybody did equally bad, it means the teaching was bad.
No. They're trying to hide that in their mind by they're trying to hide that fact by adding points.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at here, friends. That's what I'm getting. So,
Or that there's some responsibility on that.
but they're trying to hide that mathematically by adding a superfluous 20% of your points back in. So if it was at 56, now it's at 75. Thank you. So now it's here.
How would I still get 75 out of that?
I don't know. I'm trusting your guys' addition. Is it 56 plus 19?
Whatever you did was
That's
right.
75. 56 plus
Okay, so I
19.
still got the answer right, even though I did it weird.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm saying you don't have to do it weirdly. If you're just adding, and you'll see why that happens momentarily. Please.
So then with the last answer.
We're going to come to that in a second. We haven't gotten to that yet. Now, here's the deal, and here's why I don't care how many data points there are. I'm not even going to try to accurately represent a data set that has a standard deviation of whatever you guys said it was. I'm going to say these were the test scores. Just making numbers up now. Let's put 2, maybe 3 here. Let's say that's it. Okay, you ready? This test score, whatever it was, got how many points added to it? 19. Can I call that 20 if that's okay? It makes the math easier. It doesn't even matter what the number is. I'm going to call it 20 for graphical reasons. So 10 would be here, 20 would then be here, right? So that point is now here, and it's got a twin because there's 2 of them. Fair enough? Okay. These points here get 20 points added to them as well. That puts them like here and here, right? This guy is going to be somewhere about here. These guys are going to be somewhere about here. This guy's going to be somewhere about there. I don't know exactly where they are. If we needed to be more exact, we could, but that's not going to answer the question. What does standard deviation measure? Different distance from average, correct? Good. It's average. Somebody just said it. Average distance from average. Make sure you remember that because on your out-of-class part of your exam, you actually have to turn in a sentence or two that expresses that idea. So just make sure that on average, it's how far they're away on average. So basically, if we were to calculate the standard deviation over here, what you'd have to do is you'd have to draw little lines from each of these points to the average, right? And then you'd be averaging those lines. And that's what the standard deviation is, correct? With me so far? That's what the standard deviation, that's what that formula that I never want you to use is doing.
So that's
Hold tight, hold that thought, John. I'm not picking on you. I kind of
good at
am.
this.
No, but get
I need
good.
formulas.
You know you no, you don't. Dude, don't even start that crap. That last question on the exam with 5,000 kids in it, you do not need a formula for 5,000 kids. You don't want to be summing up 5,000 things by hand. I like you too much. Okay? Now watch this. What's the standard deviation over here? Well, what you'd have to do is, you'd have to add up all these distances.
Is it the same? Just tell me it's the same.
You just pick it up.
It hasn't changed! It's the same! The distances are the same. There's no difference. The distances here are the same as the distances there. You didn't have to do anything except realize that. All you had to realize was if I add the same number of points to everybody's exam, I haven't changed the average distance from average because they all move the same amount.
Now you're putting trick questions on me.
That's
How is that a question? If you've seen it in your homework, and we've talked about the definition of standard deviation for like a week and a half, how is that a trick question? It's a gift question. It's a gift to you. It's like no computation whatsoever. It's just a pure understanding of it.
What with instinct did that? I just put
That, oh, and if your instinct steered you wrong, you get the rating coupon corrected on Monday. I mean, you're getting 10% of the exam to do again for free with no penalty. So relax about that. The key thing is, do you understand that logic? Yeah, you do. That, and again, you got to remember, when I ask for questions on homework and I don't hear, I didn't understand this, what do I assume? That you do. I assume that you do. So I'm like, well, hell, if they didn't ask for this particular one, must mean everything's fine. Must mean they're comfortable with it. So if you're not comfortable with it, ask me. If you're not comfortable, ask me. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's the whole point of like going over homework is to making sure that you are comfortable with something. No, I'm not saying that you did it incorrectly, obviously, Stacy. I'm saying that you don't have to do. You can overthink it and get a correct answer, or you can go at it more holistically, kind of like this. I'm not saying you had to do it this way. Did anybody actually just generate numbers in their TI and use that? You can do it that way too. You might not get the exact same averages and standard deviations I did, but you can say, to hell with this, I'm going to make up 5 data points. Do that average, do that standard deviation, then add something to each of the 5 data points, do that average, do that standard deviation, see how it changes. You can solve something simpler than what I gave you. I mean, you can use different strategies besides drawing this picture. This is just the one you guys asked for. Yeah, John?
I had a hard time remembering, I guess, memory issue, but with the weight and the kilograms of the babies or whatever,
Yeah.
how do I get within the exact 10th of the answers if my weight varies between, 0 and 1 or 3 and...
I didn't tell you to get within the exact 10th of the reality. I said round whatever your answer is to the nearest 10th.
Okay.
So whatever you run through your TIs, you're going to get 10 decimal places back.
I must
See, I'm
have
saying,
read that wrong.
I think you did. All I said was, here's the data, crunch it using your TIs, then round off whatever you're doing to the 10th place.
Yeah, I couldn't even get that data in my calculator.
That's strange.
Error message.
Let's talk after class and figure out why. Because there shouldn't be an issue with
That's
that.
why I needed a formula, I needed something.
Oh, no, that just makes it worse. And the thing is, John, even if you had a formula, you still have to put your data and frequencies in that way anyway.
Right.
You have to start by picking the halfway point. Did everybody see what, you saw what you had to do there, right? You have the weights of the babies, pick the halfway, pick the halfway, pick the halfway. So you have to figure, I don't know what it was, but you had to go halfway between. 0.25 is what it was, 0.25, 1.25, whatever it was, 0.75.
Yeah.
Middle points, exactly. That's all you had to do was use the middle point. So you still have to, even with a formula, you have to do that.
Right.
Because that's not going to save you any angst that way. So let's just make peace with technology. We're going to make peace with it again here. So, please, Heidi.
Can we talk about chickens and ducks?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did National Geographic do?
Pretty good.
They did good.
Pretty close.
They're not pretty close-ish. They did a good job of showing what was going on because they didn't have the problem of the expansion. Go ahead. What else do you want to talk about?
Okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. I was totally thrown off by that.
Okay.
Because, seriously, that was total failure on my part. That whole front page.
Okay.
Not good. That's my 10% I want to turn in.
That's fine.
But because honestly, I'm just telling you the truth. Like for me, I don't know if it's the phrasing or what, but I totally didn't get what to do with it. And I know that's too big of a broad.
It is, and what I was trying to minimize that. In your homework, you look at, like, for example, that jet balloon question.
Yeah.
I didn't have a step-by-step guide in the homework, except for a paragraph I kind of walked you through at the end.
Yeah.
In that question, I actually tried to, I think it was like F or G or H, there was like 8 or 9 parts where walking you through, what is this? And I actually ended up giving you two of the answers by telling you 52 and 2.6. Then it was just a matter of using the graphic that I put on the board. So I guess I tried to mitigate that by giving you step by step.
And I just got through.
Then we
Am I the
could.
only one?
I'm in like math 111 or whatever right now, and I haven't taken math 20, so I don't even remember the area formula.
You didn't need it. Just count the squares.
Yeah, counting the squares.
You guys are making this way harder than it has to be.
But that's
You guys want this, and this is the problem with math classes. It makes you second guess your logic.
Yeah.
When you calculate, so here's John, I thank you for this, first of all, because the point, and Heidi too, when you look at that picture, okay, so let's just real quick, put that picture back up on the board. I thank you for this, but really, you're blowing this, you're making this way freaking harder than it has to be. I asked, on average, how big's the duck in square units? What's a square unit? One of these. But the problem is, even that concept of a square unit is lost because students are so busy. Is it 1/2 base times height? Is it base times height? Is it 1/2 height times it?
Yeah.
Just because you know a formula doesn't mean you know what a square unit is. Look down at your feet. Look down at your feet. What are you standing on? Tiles. 1 square foot tiles. How many inches in that tile? Don't answer that question. Don't answer that question. It's a BS question. There are no inches in that. There are square inches in that. But the fact that you guys didn't pick up on that means that when you're blindly plugging numbers into formulas, you don't even know what's coming out. There's 144 square inches in each of those tiles, but there are no inches in the tiles. You see what I'm getting at here? You're trying to blindly apply a formula. I heard 144, which is beautiful, by the way, because it's 12 times 12. But 12 what times 12 what? 12 inches times 12 inches is square inches. That's my problem with classes like Math 111 getting in the way. They're making you think inside the box, and the box is getting cloudier and cloudier because there's more and more crap getting shoved in it. I just wanted you to count squares that were yellow. That's it. So like 2, count that 1, maybe count that as 1, and maybe count that as 1, maybe count that as what, 4 or 5? 4 or 5 for the duck, and then count the chicken, I don't know, 84, 81, and that's what I was after, and then make the ratio of 80 to 5, whatever the 16 to 1.
Seriously?
Which is, that's all it was! Holy good Lord! And I was trying to make that fairly straightforward in the instructions, you know. How many chickens, how many ducks? Boom, gave that to you. Form the ratio. I mean, and you guys are trying to, like, I need a triangle formula. That plus that is like 1. You were making this way harder than that. You were totally overthinking the exam.
Because we're in a college class, so we think it's going to be...
This is college mathematics. This is college statistics. You have a preconceived notion of what a math exam has to be. It has to be hard, it has to be counterintuitive, and it has to be impossible.
All those things.
Welcome to Sean's classes, where your exams are going to look at data that you actually encounter in your lives. So, kind of take a deep breath. You probably did better than you think you did anyway, because when you guys are we're gonna make a gentle person's bet, and I'm gonna have all the stats on Monday when I come back. Monday when I come back, and we'll have a pleasant laugh at how bad you feel about yourselves right now.
No adding points.
What's that?
No adding points.
Yeah. You're gonna do that for Wednesday when you do the rating coupons, okay? So just, it's all good. You did fine. What you're focused on right now are the ones you didn't get right. You're focused on that standard deviation question because you overthought that one. You might be focused on the chicken, maybe. Maybe you're focused on the thing that you can get the TI right, maybe. But you fix all that. You get those points back. You do the out of class part, you crush that, we add it all together and it's out of 100, and at the end of the day you smile and you go home. The reason I have the rainy day coupons, the reason I have the out of class assessment is because this is not done. We're not done with this exam. This exam goes on all next week. In other words, you turn in your out-of-class part on Monday, then you correct the in-class part for Wednesday. So I've made you think about this at least 2 more times, because I'm a bastard. Because that's the way you learn. That's the way you learn. By constantly making you think about something, then twisting a nut down tighter, then making you think about it again, then making the band stretch a little bit more, then making you think about it again. Yeah?
Yeah.
Deep breaths. You're good. Parameter statistic margin of error?
That whole section, the extra credit points there, I was like, eh.
That's okay. That's why it's extra credit.
Yeah.
Anybody give the extra credit a shot? Good. Hells yeah, that's good. I can't wait to read it.
I picked one that didn't put an answer why. I just was like,
That's
I think this is
okay.
good.
The why is kind of important. That's kind of the point. Extra credit. Which one did you say? Yeah, no, they can know that. That's okay. But it's no, because they'll get off your back. Because you didn't get it wrong. It's extra credit. We'll talk about it on Monday. Yeah? Okay, so relax. Relax. Good Lord, folks. It happens all the time, just so you know. You guys sound like every other stat class I've ever had after the first exam. I've never heard an F-bomb drop before. Thank you for being the first, Tim. I appreciate that. But you guys sound exactly on average about the same animosity level as every other stat 243 that gets their first exam handed in. Just so you know. Not to say that you are not unique in any way, but your responses are exactly typical of every other stat Math 243 class I've ever had. So, that's how I'm fairly certain that you're going to get a pleasant whew on Monday when you get stuff back. Okay, no? Not going to be here. Well, then you'll get it back when you get it back. Yes! This one. Okay, here are our state datas from last time. Let's just do a quick recap of this and kick you out of here. I just want to kind of we left some loose ends on Monday, and I want to make sure that we don't leave those loose until all the way till next Monday. You won't have homework tonight because I want you to do your out-of-class exam for next class. But I want to make sure that we kind of wrap up these a little bit of loose ends from Monday. Start and stop again.